The world today is divided. There is a cultural battle going on. On one side, we have superstitious nut jobs who won't let go of the past. And on the other, we have those enlightened individuals who accept modern science and are willing to follow the evidence where it leads. What I want to make a video about is the plague of superstition in the world today revolving around automobiles. As you are all no doubt aware, there have been old wives' tales circulating ever since the first automobiles came about, that human beings were responsible for creating them. As wonderful as intelligent design may sound to those who are prone to wishful thinking, I've got a newsflash for some of you out there. Intelligent design is not science. If we're going to be scientifically minded, we must always search for naturalistic explanations for what we see, and not just resort to "someone must have built it." Human beings are themselves, after all, nothing more than the product of random natural processes, so there's no reason to ascribe mythical levels of intelligence and creative power to them. Are humans capable of single-handedly producing something as intricate and complicated as a car or truck? Of course not. Let's get down to the scientific truth. Unfortunately, as of yet, scientists haven't arrived at a conclusive explanation for where the first automobile came from. Possibly, the first primitive automobile factory was assembled after a natural disaster, such as a mudslide, caused large amounts of raw materials to come together in just precisely the right manner. Whatever happened, the first automobiles were very primitive, being driven forward by steam power rather than internal combustion. What happened next was one of the most interesting moments in all of natural history. A symbiotic evolutionary relationship developed between humans, who came to rely on automobiles for transportation, and the automobile factories themselves. As humans began to become more and more dependent on automobiles for their daily lives, they began to shift their population centers to the areas most prone to the kinds of natural disasters that created automobile factories in the first place. In this way, it's easy to see how it became common to find automobiles and humans in the same places. Humans and their collective needs actually help drive the evolution of the automobile forward by selecting the factories that produce the most useful and effective automobiles. As better factories formed, humans migrated to those areas producing them and ensured a steady stream of natural resources needed for production, as well as protecting them from damage. Factories producing automobiles of lesser quality were neglected and eventually were either destroyed by natural forces or simply ran out of raw materials. Over time, significant changes developed in automobiles, with the formation of separate types such as cars, trucks, SUVs, and minivans, each one thriving in the environment where humans have come to find it the most useful. There's no reason to invoke the magical concept of intelligent design to explain automobiles. Using naturalistic reasoning, plausible explanations for the origin of automobiles, like the one I've just explained, are able to be provided. We've got to put a stop to the nonsense and stop letting people commit child abuse by teaching their children the arrogant idea that people are the creators of automobiles. If we don't put our foot down here, people are going to start saying humans are responsible for everything, even computers and the internet. What about the arguments of intelligent design advocates? For example, they say that automobiles are too complex to have arisen by chance. Nonsense. Random things happen all the time. For example, out of all of the possible minutes of the morning, I got up this morning at 6:31 a.m. and I went downstairs exactly 2 minutes later, and I made sausage and egg biscuits for breakfast. The probability of all these exact factors coming together in one morning is infinitesimally low, yet it happened. I say this to point out that merely because the compound probability of a specific set of factors may be very low, it's not the same thing as saying it's impossible or that it didn't happen. Second, what about all the reports of people claiming to have worked in automobile factories or having seen people drawing up the blueprints to design new cars, or things of that nature. It's all hearsay and wishful thinking. If people want to believe something enough, they're going to invent the stories to back it up. It makes people feel powerful and influential to think that humans are responsible for something so useful and complicated as automobiles, so they feel inclined to believe tall tales about car designers and factory workers. Like the people who go out and make fake crop circles, some people have even gone so far as to fabricate pictures of these things. One of the best arguments I've found against the human design of automobiles, besides the obvious fact that intelligent design is ridiculous, is the obviously poor design of many automobiles out there. Would an intelligent designer really have made something like this, or this, or this? And besides the obvious bad design of many automobiles out there, there's the fact that they're always breaking down and having to be repaired. If we humans had designed cars, would we really have designed them to break down every few 100,000 miles? Or, for that matter, would we have designed them to run on oil and gas, which are non-renewable resources? I don't think so. Superstition takes many forms, and intelligent design reasoning is one of the most prominent of them. Make a difference by educating others. Don't let the ignorance continue. That's all.